Now, there have been few things which have caught the public's attention this year, just like the Field of Poppies at the Tower of London. Maybe you went to go and see that. Well, each one represented the death of a British and Commonwealth soldier during the First World War. But there's been a very poignant moment for one family from the county who have also commemorated the war. Clifton Rote was given the Star, Victory and British War medals, but was forced to sell them. But 60 years later, they're now back in the family's hands, and his son Jim Rote from Lingwood joins me in the studio. He's here now. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for coming in. So, some stunning medals that you brought in. I can see them now in the case. Why was your dad awarded the medals? He got, what was it, the Star, Victory and British War medals?
Yeah, for the Star he was awarded, which most soldiers got them if you fought in battle, and then you got the Victory Medal and the Victory Medal, and if you were awarded the Star, you got the whole three.
And
they call them Pipsqueak and Wilfred. That's what they call them during the war. Yeah.
And what did your father do during the war? Do you know where he was?
I did. Yeah. He when he first joined up in the 1st Essex Regiment, when his first posting was to the Balkans, which means he fought in Gallipoli, and he was out there about 9 months, I think. And then they were posted to Egypt, and then they came back, and then he was sent to France to fight in the trenches there. And he was wounded badly, shot, and recovered, went to a military hospital. And then he came back, and he was captured. And then he spent the rest of the war in a prison camp in Gustrow. Yeah.
And he obviously had the medals after the war, but he was forced to sell them in the 50s. Why was that?
He was forced to sell them. Well, there was 8 of us in the family, and with him and my mum there was 10. And he just went back, that mostly farm work in Norfolk then, and he went back to farm work, which wasn't a lot of money. And when he came home from the war, he changed, and he sort of drank a lot and was always down the pub. And I think he had a nervous breakdown when he first came home. So my oldest sister Kathleen told me, and he just took him. He used to have a tin trunk in his bedroom. And when I was a lad, about 13, I used to go in there and play with these medals. I used to love it and shine them up, and he had other things in there from the war. And then I went in one day and they just all disappeared. I went down and asked Mum where they were, and she just said he sold them down the pub.
Sold them down the pub?
He sold them down the pub, yeah. Probably for about 2 or 3 points, Yeah.
I was going to say, he wouldn't...
Yeah, Mother never see the money, but just a few points.
And, your family would never have believed that they'd have come back into your possession after something like that.
They wouldn't, no, not at all. Yeah.
However, at an auction, there was a chap called Richard Steele at an auction. Richard's on the line. Hello, Richard.
Good morning, Nikki.
Good morning. And Jim is in the studio listening to you as well.
Good morning, Jim. How are you?
Hello, Richard. How are you?
Yeah, very well. Good to hear your voice.
Oh, and you, yeah. I don't know what to say, Richard. I really don't.
Oh, I'm so pleased. It means so much, Jim. And when I read your article that you'd written in the Mirror newspaper, I felt very touched.
Yeah.
It was really lovely because I think everything we've seen regarding World War One, you used to hear the soldiers saying they wanted to come home for Christmas. Mm-hmm. And it was just so nice to be able to play a very little part in getting your father home for Christmas.
Richard, just explain what happened. You were at an auction and saw the medals and got in touch with Jim.
Yeah, well, I'm a medal collector, so I scan the auction catalogues online. And I don't know why, because it wouldn't be, I collect to a certain field, and they're normally to Royal Flying Corps or Tank Corps, but I was drawn to this set of medals of Clifton Rote, and I just put it into the internet, stuck it into search engine, and it led me to James's post on the Great War Forum. And then from that, I found the article that James had written for the Sunday Mirror. And in reading that, and especially I had chills when I read the part that said, my father sold the medals. I thought, well, this is obviously the same man, and it would mean probably so much to Jim to get them back in the family. So it was a case of me linking up Jim to the auctioneer, and then Jim doing the rest, really. But it was just a nice thing to do.
It's a lovely thing to do. And Jim, you'd been on the lookout for the medals, obviously writing articles, appealing for the information.
Yeah. I have, yeah. And I just can't believe, when I got Richard's email, that's here what I got from Richard, and I just couldn't believe it. I was ecstatic, and I owe him so much, I really do. And, I can't thank him enough. Yeah. That's right.
Can you? I mean, this is the first time that you've actually spoken to Richard,
yeah.
isn't it?
I don't even know where he lives.
Can you just describe to Richard maybe how you felt when you saw those words come through in that email?
Yeah, I couldn't just believe it. I rushed downstairs and I said to my wife, I said, I got an email. Someone had found my medals, and she couldn't believe it. And straight away I went on the link Richard gave me, and I put in the lot number, 272. Didn't dream that was going to be them. And then when I saw the medals with my father's name, that was it. Yeah, I was so... Yeah, straight away I emailed Richard back and, said thanks.
And it was so long ago, wasn't it, when he sold them? In
that 1950s.
Was, yeah. They could have gone absolutely anywhere.
Yeah, and I haven't a clue where they've been all these years. I just wondered where they'd been all these years, and I don't suppose I'll ever know now, but... It's just lovely. The family's pleased. My sons are pleased. There's something I can hand down now.
Wonderful to have them back in the family. That Richard, and a good deed from yourself there. And getting in touch, because obviously you're someone who is on the lookout for medals, aren't you? And any medals that might be missing from their rightful owners, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, obviously I'm a collector, but these sort of things mean so much to the family. Obviously, if they can stay in the family, that's where they belong, and because there is a link, and a very, very personal link. The lovely thing about the set of medals that Jim has is they're all complete. Often you'll find within a family they were split up, so one son or daughter may have got one, another would have got the other, and another would have got the third medal, but these are all complete, so it was lovely to get the complete set back to Jim.
And what was it like actually going through the auction, Jim?
Yeah, that was fine. Straight away I phoned the auctioneers at Burrs and Edmonds, and I explained the story and to the young lady on the desk, and then she got the auctioneer to phone me back, which he did, and because that was 2 days later, they were going to be auctioned on the Friday. And he said just before the auction started, he would give me a ring, which he did. He rang me just before the auction, just before 1, and he said... I'll bid up to £200, he said, and if that go more, I'll just give you a nod, he said, and we'll go from there. And I heard him bidding up on the phone, and they got £130, and he just suddenly said, they're yours. And I couldn't believe it. Yeah, that's what he said, the auctioneer. He said, they're yours, yeah. And so it was brilliant.
The thing is that they actually are yours.
They are mine. They are mine now.
As they're your dad's medals, and here they are back in the family, and wonderful at Christmas to have such...
Yeah, that's what I say. I love a wonderful Christmas present. I don't bother if I don't get anything else. I know I will.
And what do you want to say to Richard? As I said, it's the first time you've actually spoken to each other.
Yeah, thanks, Richard. I don't know how to thank you enough, really.
No, you're more than welcome, Jim.
Yeah, thanks ever so much. I'll always be indebted to you.
No, it's no problem. Yeah. I'm just really pleased that your father's home where he belongs.
Yeah.
And your family can enjoy Christmas, and you've got something now that you can pass on to your family and keep the spirit alive.
Yeah, thanks ever so much.
You're more than welcome.
Yeah, I'm nearly in tears.
More than welcome, sir.
Yeah, thanks ever so much.
Wonderful. Thank you, Richard.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for joining us on the line. And where are you going to put them now? Now you've got them back.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep them in the case, and I got a special place.
Have you?
Yeah.
They're going to be on display, or are you going to sort of put them away?
Yeah, I'll put them away, and then a lot of people have seen them, There's always someone wanting to see the medals, and so I will put them away, and hopefully one day they'll be handed down. Yeah.
And that's what you wanted, really, wasn't it? Just so they can basically stay in the family and be handed down the generations.
That's right, yeah, I want that more than anything. Hand them down, and so that's made my year, really.
Wonderful. And it's just a very happy coincidence, isn't it, that Richard could find out the information, who they belong to.
Yeah, I don't know how he done it, but he did.
Obviously, the right person came across those medals.
Yeah, he did, the right person, yeah, because if anybody else, they would have probably bid for him, and, which really, they're no good to anybody else, really, because, I've got my father's name on, and...
to anyone else. They're just war medals,
that's right,
really, aren't
yeah,
they? But
that's right, yeah.
It means so much
yeah,
to you.
And yeah, they do.
Well, have a lovely Christmas.
I will.
You will now, won't you?
I definitely will now.
I can tell. Thank you so much for coming in and showing us those wonderful medals as well.
Thanks ever so much.
Appreciate
Bye-bye.
it. So that's Jim Rote from Lingwood, who's happy, relieved and a little bit emotional as well, having got those medals back, the Star, Victory and British War medals that were earned by Clifton Rote, his father. So 60 years after leaving the family and being sold in a pub, they're back with the family. And if you want to have a look at a picture, just go to our Facebook page and you can see a picture of what those medals actually look like, what we were describing in the studio today.